Hi, I'm Harriet of the De Winton Paper Co, and I am going to be teaching you how to get into watercolour painting. It's the most amazingly relaxing pastime and a hobby that creates amazing results really quickly. So in our first episode today, I'm going to be showing you what you need to get started. One of the reasons I love watercolour so much is that you don't need that much kit, and what you do need is relatively affordable. So let's start with watercolour paper. Watercolour paper can either be textured like this, and we call that cold pressed, or it can be smooth and we call that hot pressed. I prefer the cold pressed paper. It's a little bit like kitchen roll just here, which means it absorbs the water and the paint blends beautifully across the page. Then we need water. Unsurprisingly, that plays quite a large role in watercolour painting, and then the paint itself. Now, I love to use tubes of watercolour paint. It just means that you can squeeze out what you need, and if you're a bit of a messy painter like me, you can just put it in your clean palette, and there you go. The alternative is to have one of these, which is a set of pans. Pans of watercolour are dried blocks of concentrated paint. In both cases, the colour looks quite dark, quite serious. It doesn't look like it's going to be beautiful, bright and vibrant, but the key is all down to water. Now, to get the water and the paint together, we need to talk about brushes. Now, I love a rounded point brush, and a rounded point brush means that you can have a nice fine tip and a fairly thick set of bristles. So you see here, this brush is looking a little bit tufty and a little bit tired. However, we get it in the water and we've got a lovely fine point. So let's use this brush. Now, for example, with watercolour in pans, looking all serious and dark there, if I take that and put it onto the page, we get ourselves a lovely light colour, lovely and translucent. The other thing we need to get started is a bit of kitchen roll. Like I said, it's a kind of similar texture to watercolour paper itself, but what we need it for is to clean off our brushes, because sometimes when you think you've got it all clean, there's always a little bit more lurking. So I always have a bit of kitchen roll to one side to put my brushes down. Now, I like to have a range of sizes of brushes, so here we go. Here's a few of the ones I like to have. A nice big one to be able to move paint and paper across, and then a few tiny little ones for a bit of detail. The palette I've got here, in both cases, here and here, this is a plastic palette. To be honest, the best thing you could use is a plate from the kitchen cupboard. Ceramics is the best way to have watercolour paint, so let's squeeze a little bit on here. It just means that the paint sits really happily on the plate, and when you add a bit of water, it just sits really beautifully on the plate as well and doesn't sort of bobble up and run off like water off a duck's back. So there you have it. Everything we need to start watercolour painting. So get yourself set up. You'll notice that I'm a left-hander, so I've got everything set up so I can reach my paints and my brushes from the left. But get yourself set up with your paper in front of you. Also look for a nice bit of natural light. That will really help when you're looking at the colours. And then we're ready to get started. So there you go, that's all you need. That's one of the things I love about watercolour, is the kit is pretty affordable and pretty simple. And if you look after it, it'll last you a lifetime. In terms of brands that I use, I've put in the episode notes below all the kind of things that I recommend. But the biggest piece of advice I could give you is buy the best you can afford, because you won't regret it. Okay, so if you liked what we've just done there, hit the like button. If you want to tell me the kind of things that you want to see me paint, or the kind of things you want to learn, just say so in the comments below. And if you want to keep on watching all these lovely watercolour lessons, hit the subscribe button and you'll be able to catch up with me next time. So for now, go get yourself some watercolour kit, and I'll see you next time. Bye!